So I think I finally figured it out. For some time, I've been trying to find out how to make the AI go backward consistently. Well, as consistently as possible. It's still wonky, but because normally it seems like that the AI doesn't really know how to, and that it might have something to do with some of the stats. And the more I kept testing and trying, the more it seemed like that some of these descriptions don't actually fit what they actually do, or that there's some kind of underlying base function to to add to it. Like the blue chips act fundamentally different than the green chips, even though there's a few of them that have similar functions, like full back and jump back or strafe back. Where one will make more of an effort to go forward than the other, but it's all so unclear. But yeah, I think I finally figured it out. Now, as you see here, AC number 1 is is trying to move forward a lot more. But this one, it's just going around. They may be the same AC, but I set the AIs differently. And I don't know why it's constantly running out of energy like that, but I'll figure it out sometime later. It's not exactly a serious build. It's just a test model just to demonstrate something. Let's go to the desert, like one of the biggest maps in the game, and reload the AC. Okay, so it's using the full back chip, and as you see on the radar, it's actually trying to move forward, whereas this one right here, no, it really isn't. But because its back is to a literal corner, it's not making an effort to move away from that spot, but this is kind of where the wonky part begins. Sometimes when it's pushed to go forward, it'll just try to go forward anyway. Wish there was some way to get it to show better than this, but to get it to act better, even when it's supposed to be acting as intended, I'm not talking about this version of the AC. I mean the other one. But see right here, I've been hearing that this is kind of a meta. Kind of a meta setup, and it's easy to see why. Well, wait a minute. Kind of meta, easy to see why. Or, wait a minute. Or maybe it's not, I don't really know. But, all I know is that these four things are almost always the same when it comes to the meta. This is usually on defense, as they tend to act better in the attack. For certain rushdown builds, like that certain bazooka arm, those two bazooka arm ACs from TBM's tournament. I have full back on two of these and full slide if, for whatever reason, the AC survives. I have this one set off because I don't want it to be considering the environment at all. And while this one sounds like the same thing, no, it really doesn't. Well, I mean, no, yeah, it does sound similar, but it's basically basically without this, it's not going to know that there's that there's a ground below it, so it'll constantly make hard landings. And I'm not exactly sure if it depends on this being at max, but I just don't feel like adding many more variables than I already have to for this. Oh, right. Almost forgot. So what I found out is that well, I better show you. And yeah, it does seem a bit crazy, but there's a reason behind this. Now let's go to a map where it's impossible to bring out. Not that they will, since the AI is too smart for that.
Test match. Single mode. Stand by.
But yeah, now the ACs are the exact same now. Now, they don't make much of an effort to move forward unless they have to. As you saw, they both went backwards as soon as the fight started. Now, while trying to find out ways to beat that bazooka arm, when I found out about this, well, finally, decided to just set everything to low. I saw it like boost into the wall while going backwards for some time, but this is pretty good, even though yeah. Now, if they had used up their left-handed sniper rifle, that full slide chip would have acted better. Since with the laser sword, it would have actually, well, usually when I was doing the test, use the overboost and get close. Not necessarily to use the blade, but to get in its range. But this is kind of the wonky part about it. It doesn't go backwards all the time, and when it starts going forward, sometimes it just sticks with it. Even with the base character to be fully varied. But how could this be used in a fight? Well, obviously it's great for sniper builds, but the downside to it is that that you can't rely on it to move from where it started, since that's part of how that's part of why it's not it's I'm not exactly sure how to put it. It doesn't even handle straight from taking wide circles very well, and well, maybe there's no questions, but at one point it did beg the question, if these are like this, then what would happen if then would the exact opposite of this make it like, really jumpy and then moving all backwards? And no, it doesn't work like that. For some reason, this also affects the direction that the movement is prioritized. So the higher any of these go up, the more it'll prioritize going forward. And it's also why it acts like that it doesn't really know how to move backwards most of the time. And based on that alone, having any one of these up there, and it can never work. Well, at least as far as run is concerned, because it'll always prioritize moving forward, then backwards. So if these two are low and this is up high, then when it starts going forward, it's only going to run, and that's not a good thing most of the time. Which is kind of annoying, but as far as I found so far, all three of these have to be on low. It doesn't matter if kind of does, depending on the core you're using. But as far as I found, this has less of an impact of whether or not it'll be trying to go backwards or not. Although it does have an impact on whether or not you use the EO.